Welcome to the home of the DIY movement, where we build stuff and paint things.
All right, everybody, welcome back, man. Today is the first of the month. It's July 1st. We're sliding into a 4-day weekend for me for 4th of July. Big celebration this weekend. We're not gonna be doing too much here. Working on some stuff in the shop, man. Haven't done a video in about a month, man. Kind of fell back. We actually hadn't really touched Bobby's car. We hadn't really touched anybody's car, man, or the truck. We've been doing other stuff around the house. Did a whole fencing project that took 5 weekends. So we're gonna get back into the car stuff, the car content here this weekend. We're gonna be putting the side moldings on Bobby's car. So man, I'm kind of in a funk. Hadn't done a video. We just did the Way Back Wednesday. I just did that here a little while ago. Man, I talked to 2 friends of mine today, good friends. One is he's building, in my opinion, the nicest car I've ever seen in my life. And the other friend of mine is a good friend of mine who's a big advocate of the DIY movement. He's also building a nice car. He's a couple years behind as far as knowledge-wise, so I'm helping him out a lot on that. And man, we were talking, and I asked him a question today because I seen a couple videos on YouTube talking about the biggest mistakes people make when buying a car, buying a classic car, an old car. And I want to talk about the biggest mistakes people make when they're building a lowrider, because a lowrider is a whole nother breed of car. And my friend A, we'll say, he's building a hardtop 59. I asked him that earlier today. I said, man, what do you think is the most important thing, or what do you think is the biggest mistake people make when building a lowrider or putting together a lowrider, whether buying it and doing some stuff or building one from scratch? And it took him a moment to come up with an answer. He wasn't kind of caught him off guard. He didn't know the question beforehand. And his first answer was the biggest mistake is to expect for the car to ride good. And that's pretty true, man. It's these cars are 60-something years old, man. They're not a new SUV crossover. They're not a new Honda Accord. They don't have the comfort level or the safety of a new car. There's a special way to drive a lowrider. I've always said this, man. There's a special way to drive a car with hydraulics, and basically it's defensive driving. You got to be aware of your surroundings because the car is going to bounce. You could put accumulators, you can put different springs in, and you can do all that, man. I've done it all. Still, the car is not going to ride stock. It's going to ride close to stock, but it's not going to ride stock. It's not going to brake the same. It's not going to steer the same. It's not. You change the whole suspension on the car. Then you get into like control arms. Some people running like 1.5, 2-inch A-arms. Smaller tires, 13s. Tires are not rated for the weight. Full wrap frame, 10 batteries in the trunk. You're doing all this stuff, and you're expecting it to ride, and it's not. And he said that's one of the big mistakes people make, is expecting too much out of your car. I want to talk about the lowriding industry and where it's at right now, man. All I've done is lowriders my whole life, and trucks. I've owned trucks, but never any type of vehicle. Pro touring or resto mod or hot rod. Never done anything like that. I don't know of another industry where you go spend some $6,000 on hydraulics and it doesn't come with any type of warranty. The whole industry is built on backyard boogie. I mean, you're taking a 12-volt motor and you're putting 120 volts or 84 volts to it, potential fire hazard, and no warranty. You know, like you give these companies $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 of money, and they can't guarantee that your dump ain't gonna leak, or they can't guarantee that your check valve ain't gonna seep down, or they can't guarantee that your hose ain't gonna blow. There's like zero guarantees. Is there any other industry that does that? It's crazy. It's crazy. But shifting gears to my other buddy, I asked him, and his answer was a little more descriptive, a little more in depth. So we're gonna get into that. Right? So he had time to think about it, whereas the friend A was a phone call. So friend B was an email. So he had time to process it and then type back to me, you know. And he said that, and I think his response was spot on, man. That's why we're good friends. We think alike. His response was that people, before I say that, you know, when I do the videos or when I get into conversations about stuff, I'm assuming people know what I'm talking about. And then I post a video, and then I get comments, feedback, or messages on Instagram, and some of these guys that watch my stuff, they're like 20 years younger than me. It's the first time doing this. I mean, I had a guy in the Facebook group saying it's his first set of wire wheels. Somebody told him that you can't drive over 45 miles an hour on them, which is not true. So that you know, like, so I have to fall back and think, man, some of these guys might be 21 years old and they haven't done anything. You know, this is the first time. So I don't want to say dumb it down, but I have to regroup and think that not only people with experience are watching my channel. Anyways, that being said, his response was that the biggest mistake people make is they see what's on Instagram or social media, YouTube videos and stuff, and they want that, and they want to go all in. They want to build a car with a full frame, with full chrome undercarriage, with 10 batteries, piston pump, ADEXs, moonroof, LS swap, 4-wheel disc brake, color bar, tilt steering, you know, the whole job. They want to build a $150,000 car or more. And that's what social media has done. Social media has created this monster, and it didn't used to be that way. When I first got my car, you know, I didn't even have a cell phone. We didn't have cell phones back then. We had payphones. You built it as you went along. It was okay to just put your wheels on and drive your car for 2 years before you save up for that paint job. Or it was okay to just put your wheels on before you save up for the hydraulics. And then you take your car or you install your hydraulic, you take it to a shop, you get your hydraulics, and then you get your paint, and then you get your interior. It was like stages. But now it's like you look on these videos, man, and these people are building full frame off cars with $200,000 in them, and they haven't driven them yet. So I think people need to kind of go back to the basics, man, and understand that it's okay to build it as you go. And because I'll be honest, man, I don't know anybody who has $200,000 laying around to go buy something, or 150 grand or whatever. I don't know anybody like that. So the point of the video was that, you know, it's okay to build at your own pace, man. There's no need to keep up with the Joneses. You know, you guys saw my video on the Daytons. You know, I got the chrome Daytons for the 60 like 2 years ago when I was like 44 years old. That was the first set I ever bought from Dayton at age 44. I've had plenty of used wheels. Man, dozens of sets of used Chinese wheels. So you don't have to have Daytons. You don't have to have engraved wheels. You don't have to have an engraved bumper out the gate. You know what I mean? Like, just enjoy your car. That's what it's about. It's about enjoying the car the way you want. It's a personal preference. It's a reflection of yourself. So build it how you want. Don't keep up with the Joneses, man. Just do things the way you want to do them. So, man, if I had to wrap this up, I would say the biggest mistake that people make in lowriding when trying to build a lowrider is trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to outdo the next man when for likes and comments, which is crazy. It's a new age of technology. I would say just build it the way you like, man. Stay in your lane, do what you can afford. Don't lose your house over this crap. Don't lose your spouse over this crap. Don't neglect your family and your kids and your priorities over this crap. If you don't have the money to do it, it's okay to buy Chinese wheels. It's okay to use, Duragold sandpaper. It's okay to use, the cheap 2K urethane primer. You don't have to use the PPG clear coat. You don't have to do any of this stuff, man. You can do it the way you want to do it, the way you can afford it. And that's what I try to push on the channel is do it yourself. Do it yourself. That way, at the end of the day, if you don't like it, the only person to blame is yourself, and you have the resources and capability to just redo it until you like it. It's real simple, man. Hope you guys enjoyed this, man. If you guys want to see more stuff like this, leave a comment below, because I could talk all day about this topic, man, because I'm seeing it firsthand. It seems like it's a social media competition, which is crazy because that's not how it started at all. Stay tuned for the next one.